My name is Jacob, and welcome to another episode of Raw and Uncut on the Abrasive Conversations platform. In today's episode, I would like to cover the recent announcement of Mbuyiseni Ndlozi, the former party member of the EFF and former MP. So, as you might be aware, that Ndlozi sat down with the SABC and was explaining his side of the story, what happened to him, why he wasn't at the EFF's elective conference, and a lot clarity was given in that interview. Now, I have a number of takeaways, and I have about 4 takeaways in this episode. So I will not repeat what was said in the interview with the SABC. You guys can go and check it out. It's about just over 40 minutes. Go and check it out, hear it from Ndlozi himself. I don't want to paraphrase, I don't want to say and add anything to what he has already been said. I just want to respond to some of the things that he said and some takeaways. So here's my first takeaway from it. And I'll make a episode on this. I am working on an episode that focus on the state of the EFF. But in this episode, I just want to briefly go over some of the revelations that he said. And one of that revelations is that the EFF, prior to the 2024 national provincial elections, they had a strategy of strategic entanglement. Now, what it means is that they strategically entangled themselves with Jacob Zuma and then later with the MKP. MKP standing for the Mkhonto Wesizwe Party. Now, this is interesting because the information that came clear is that there was disagreements amongst the leadership of the EFF with the strategic entanglement, and Ndlozi was one of those opposition voices within the EFF. And as he explained in the interview, is that by now we know the results, we know how badly the EFF fared because of that specific political strategy they have, strategic entanglement. Now, this is something that sometimes works and sometimes doesn't work. Now, strategic entanglement is 2 sides of the same coin. It can work for some, but it can be to the detriment of others. So, I think that Zuma benefited a lot more from the strategic entanglement because when Zuma left the ANC, joined the Mkhonto Wesizwe Party, it benefited a lot more. And as Ndlozi mentioned, is that it became clear before the elections that strategic entanglement hurt them, and yet they continued with this political strategy. So it's interesting. So the advice that I would give as a political scientist and analyst to the leadership of the EFF, we need you as a political party. We need opposition to the current politics. There cannot be one voice that speaks for all of South Africa. There needs to be different voices. There needs to be debates, and there needs to be opposition to certain policies. And you guys have been doing a great job since you came into power. Now, I understand, and Ndlozi also explained that there is a picket line. There's a line that you do not cross, especially when it comes to the struggles of the working class, the poor, and the black majority. I understand it. But as a political party, there's a lot for you at stake. And that is that some of your base, if you are strategically entangled, can go to another party. And we have seen this happening to the ANC in a lot of their breakaways. So strategic entanglement is not one of the best political strategies that you can employ. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. The best thing for you is to go back to your base, work on your branches, do some groundwork, and introduce a less radical political strategy in terms of some of the debates that is going on in South Africa. You can still be radical, but less radical in how it's communicated. And there is ways of communicating it. So my advice would be to the leadership of the EFF and the current members of the EFF is go back, work on the base, get detangled from the MK party and start building your branches and support base for the 2026 local government elections, and then use that as a base for the 2029 elections. You can take this advice or you can leave it. I would give the same advice to the ANC because they also need to go back to their base. The second takeaway that comes from Ndlozi's interview with the SABC is that he still loves the party and he still loves the leadership of the EFF. And one of the phrases that he used is the revolution comes from love. Now that love is for the majority and their struggles, the working class, the poor, and the black majority. And I agree with Ndlozi on this matter, is that every revolution, there is a specific element of love, passion to it. And without that driving the revolution, it will not be successful. So I understand it. And he made it clear in that interview is that there is a difference when it comes to politics and friendship. And it's one thing that I still have to reconcile, this politics and friendship, because when relationships get soured through politics, how does it impact the friendship? And I could see in that interview that Ndlozi was struggling with it because, as you might know, is that he was suspended from the party prior to the elective conference. They said that the report of his investigation would be ready after the elective conference. That never happened. He reached out a number of times and they left him hanging. And because of that, he decided to leave the EFF. And even though he still respects the mission, the vision, and what the EFF stands for, he still respects the leadership and he understands why he did it. So there is also that love from his side going to the party that he gave his life to. So yes, every revolution comes with love or is driven by love. But there's a lot of sacrifices that you have to make. Personal sacrifices, friendships, there's a lot that is on the line. And at this point, Ndlozi is feeling that. And third takeaway from the interview is the direction that Ndlozi is going. And he wants to make his contribution now in academia and in civil society. And one of the biggest things that he said, there needs to be an opposition to the politics of AfriForum, because the politics of AfriForum is not helping where South Africa is supposed to go. And we have seen it recently with the whole debacle on the expropriation of the Expropriation Act with regards to nil compensation when it comes to land. So AfriForum's politics is that white people must maintain their undue privilege that was bestowed or given to them by colonialism and apartheid. And it's literally saying, screw you black people, we will keep the land, and whatever you do, if you come for this compensation or getting your fair share of this land, then we will oppose it. We will even go as far to get other countries in meddling in your affairs. So that's pretty much AfriForum's stance. So some of the right-wing groups within that whole debate when it comes to even sanction South Africa, go for South Africa, remove the ANC. So there's this yearning and nostalgia for the type of apartheid politics where the lives of black people meant nothing to white people in South Africa. So that's the politics of AfriForum and a lot of the right-wing and conservative parties in South Africa. Now, with that being said, is that we can only get out of this mess if there is opposition to that politics. And this is where Ndlozi sees his future. He wants to enter civil society where he can make a contribution because he believes that party politics doesn't have a monopoly on social change. And I agree with him. We need more civil societies that is countering the politics of AfriForum. But here comes the kicker. We need civil societies that actually empower communities, tell communities how to do it themselves and not doing it for them. I know this for a fact because I have a couple of projects in different provinces where I exactly doing that, where I help communities rebuilding their communities, empowering them. So when you leave, then they completely independent. They are not dependent on a civil society to get some salary from a US aid agency or funding. So that's the type of work that I'm doing. You have to empower communities to do themselves, and that's the specific space that we need. If we get more communities empower more of those black working and poor people, his children will get to university and that will change their life, because university are giving information, much needed information that is needed in these communities. So even though we need that opposition politics to counter the politics of AfriForum, we also need a lot of hands in communities to help fix some of the disparities that we see within the communities. There needs to be a focus on youth, there needs to be a focus on women, and there needs to be a focus on children. We need to create employment opportunities, we need to create entrepreneurial opportunities, and we need to give them a vision for a drastically changing global economy that is being threatened by things like artificial intelligence and becoming more and more technologically driven. That is some of the work that we need to do, and that is where we have to put our attention to what would the black people's role be in this growing economy. Are they just going to be another worker? Are they disposable? What is their role? And how can we counter a politics that doesn't benefit them? So that is what I would like to see happens with that civil society space. The fourth takeaway is that, and this is just me personally and what I hope for, I hope that Ndlozi would join the ANC specifically, because we need good political leaders in different political parties, and especially younger leaders. So currently we have the EFF, led by Julius Malema. We have Floyd in the MKP. He's the Secretary General. So it would have just made it so much more interesting if Ndlozi joined the ANC. Then you have three really good leaders in different political parties. They know each other, they come to political maturity amongst themselves, so it would be good to see them in opposition to each other, but also working together to get to this common goal where there is a better future for the marginalized within society. So that was my hope, that he would join he would stay in party politics, and that he would join the ANC. But he decided academia and civil society is for him. So it's a little bit, that's just my hope. But this hope was on a sound reasoning. Party politics need Ndlozi. So, Dr. Ndlozi, if you hear this, I know you are hanging up your gloves in saying that, look, I'm done, I have a contribution elsewhere. Please reconsider it. The politics or party politics need you, because on the horizon I do not see many leaders of your caliber coming to the fore with your types of principles. And this takes me to the last takeaway. I respect Ndlozi so much more after this, because there's so much that he could have said, there's so much things that he could have done to shed or paint the EFF and the leadership in a different light. But in that interview, he refused to do it. He worked from the space of love, the love that they have for the revolution, and understanding what it means. And because of that principle that he has, he decided not to dirty any dirty laundry, which is admirable for me. And also his decision to leave party politics and to make a contribution elsewhere in civil society. I also respect that because it's based on sound reasoning. He knows where he wants to go and what he wants to do. So I respect him. He came, he talked and said, I owe this to South Africa. The South African society needs to know this. So I have this respect for him. So I respect his decision then to leave party politics and put his energy, his revolutionary energy, at a different place. I think academia also need a type of revolutionary energy, because academia has become a safe space where we do not question the establishment. We don't question universities and their leadership. We do not question the higher education. We do not question research. So there is no revolutionary spirit in academia. On the ground, students are protesting, they're demanding decolonization, they're demanding free education. So among students, there is this revolutionary space. But when it comes to academia, we opt for safe topics, we opt for the safe funding and career paths, and we don't want to be part of this revolution anymore. And I think, Ndlozi, I would welcome you in this particular space in academia. We need more revolutionary academics on the left, and I know you are on the left. We need you guys in this space. So if you come, welcome. And I hope to read some of the work in the coming years and see some of your contributions at conferences. I think that will be productive. Yeah, so that brings me to the end of this episode. It's just some takeaways from the Ndlozi interview. I will do a better breakdown on the EFF in the coming weeks, where I look at the state of the EFF specifically. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching, and I will see you guys in the next episode.